Trump called for the death penalty for drug dealers. What do you think about that?
It won't.
Death penalty for drug dealers.
It's crazy, retarded. Trump is retarded though anyway. I read his books when I was in jail. He didn't write the books. Me being able to see him live on TV lets me know that he's not the guy that I used to think he was. I used to think he was really intelligent, but he's definitely not intelligent. And getting hard on drugs wouldn't stop the problem. They got hard on drugs and more drugs came into the country, more people got addicted. The drug war has to be fought with some intelligence and with love. You have to treat the drug game as if your brother, your sister, or your mom was on drugs. How would you deal with them if they was on it? And I think that if we start to approach the whole problem as if the people that are using drugs are our family members, then we would solve this problem.
Yes, yeah, I agree. On the Snowfall thing, right, in the final season now, I saw something recently where you said you had met with John Singleton and he made a statement to you that he had money for you, he had a part for you, and so forth. And of course, I guess because he passed before it could come to fruition, those things never came to fruition.
No.
Did you ever think about suing the show or suing?
I did. I talked to a couple lawyers about it, and the problem with that is that I have so much stuff in public domain. I've done so many Vlad interviews and so many LA Times and TMZs, and that a lot of the things that they could have gotten from some of those sources, so it makes it really difficult to sue.
Right. People don't get that. It's like that time when I was doing Hip Hop Weekly and we launched that story of you suing the rapper using your name and how that went, where it said some shit about you should have sued or made the suit like a few days before you got out of prison or something like that.
Yeah,
what
5
you
days.
about. Yeah, that's crazy. That's just crazy.
Yep.
And this was interesting. You said that you had an opportunity. You ran into the young kid, the young man Damson Idris, the English actor who stars on that show in LA, and you invited him to lunch. How'd that go?
Well, no, I was sitting at the table eating lunch at Whole Foods. It was a nice sunny day, and I was sitting there eating lunch, and then me and a couple of my guys, and he walked up, and I never watched Snowfall, so I didn't know who he was. I didn't know that the guy was, from a different country or nothing like that. I just, I just totally boycotted the show. That was my way of protesting, was not to watch the show. So they introduced him to me. He sat down, we had lunch that day. Great conversation. I really, really liked the kid. I thought he was a good kid. And he told me that he wished that I was on the set, that he was gonna go back and talk to John about me being on the set. But I never heard back from him after that day. But yeah, we did have lunch together.
One of the Vlad TV members asked the question, did you ever think about suing John himself?
I mean, it would be the same thing suing John and Fox. FX. If I was gonna go after somebody, I'd go after the one with the money. John. I feel that I was really pissed at John for a while, but after I thought about it, I thought John probably went to them and told them he had me and he could do the show with me, but they probably rejected it, and John probably needed the money.
Have you had a chance to see the BMF series? Any of that?
No. I mean, when I think about these shows, they remind me of the black exploitation shows. The shows that show us in a negative light. I mean, if you look at, and the only reason I know about Snowfall is because I had did a deal with one of your old friends, Dave May,
Mm-hmm.
who used to be partners with you in one of the magazines,
Yeah.
and
Hip Hop Weekly.
he convinced me to do a podcast called After the Snow. And while I was doing it, I started to watch the show, but then I started to see how they made us look in these shows. You know, it was nothing like me. You know, where something may happen, and you know, I had an opportunity to have the guy beat up or killed or whatever. You know, what decision I made. In every incident, they beat the guy, killed him. You know, they kill guys on potential, being a potential snitch. You know, not that he snitched, but just because he may snitch one day. You know, and they kill him. And I mean, if we lived our life like that on the street, you know, we'd be serial killers.
You
So-
don't have enough bullets for who may tell.
So
That's crazy.
When I see these shows, they turn me off. You know, because
get it.
I believe they make us look like buffoons. You know, like we can't think, we're not rational. You know, we're just out here on a money grab, and we're doing it at any cost. And you know, most of the guys that I knew that sold drugs was much more savvy than that. I mean, I met some really, really savvy dudes in these streets. You know,
Yes, indeed.
and I only wonder why they never showed none of these guys, you know, on TV or their stories.
Right. Interesting. Based on what you know, was BMF's operation at its height is bigger than your old operation? Based on what you know.
You know, people ask me that all the time. I don't know.
Do they?
You know, yeah, they do. From what I understand, though, they had a 15-year run. You know, my run was only like 8, maybe 9-year run. So I imagine they probably got bigger. But what happened then don't matter to me. Is what's going to happen now. Ain't nobody going to be bigger than me now.
I hear that. Do you think it's possible to have another BMF today under current circumstances?
I think so. I mean, as long as they have people that use drugs, they're gonna have people that supply them. And
Sure.
you know, as the population grows, you know, more ways to sell drugs, they're gonna have people that get bigger.
Right. This is a member question from a guy named Samuel Colin. Did you ever watch The Wire?
Nope,
Okay.
not a TV guy. I
Right,
want to
I
write
can dig it.
stories. I don't want to write. I want to write stories and produce stories. I don't want to be entertained by them.
I get it. I definitely get it. Especially when you lived it to the degree that you have.
Yeah, when I was in prison, I read no novels, I didn't read those kind of stories. You know, I read books about how to better myself when I got out of prison.